The stars looked different tonight. Dr. Jake Morrison rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. The numbers were still there, still wrong, still impossible. He had been watching space signals for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago. Jake sat alone in the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Nevada. The building was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the click of his keyboard. Outside, the desert stretched for miles under the dark sky. This can't be right, Jake said to himself. He checked the numbers again. The energy readings were huge, much bigger than anything he had ever recorded. And they were moving fast toward Earth. Jake picked up his phone and called Dr. Helen Roberts at the main office. She answered on the third ring. "Helen, it's Jake. I need you to look at something." "Jake, it's 3 in the morning. This better be important." "It is. I'm sending you the data now. Tell me what you see." Jake heard Helen typing on her computer, then silence, long silence. "Jake, these readings, how many objects are we talking about?" "At least 300, maybe more. They're still coming into range." "And they're all moving together?" "Yes, like a fleet." Helen was quiet for a moment. "I'm calling the Pentagon. Don't talk to anyone else about this." The phone went dead. Jake stared at his screen. The dots were getting brighter, getting closer. Far above Earth, in the cold darkness of space, Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship. The ship was called Dominion's Fist, and it was 5 miles long. Its weapons could destroy a planet. Around it, hundreds of other ships moved in perfect formation. Vextar was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. His species had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They called themselves the Empire, and every world they found became theirs. "It was simple. It was always simple. Report," Vextar said. His voice was cold and sharp. "The target world is ahead, Admiral," said his second officer. "3rd planet from the star. The species calls it Earth. What do we know about them?" "Primitive. They have only just learned to travel between stars. Their largest ships are smaller than our shuttles. Their weapons are crude. This should take no more than a few hours." Vextar nodded. "It was always the same. Show the primitive species the size of the Imperial fleet. Give them a chance to surrender. If they were smart, they would submit and become part of the Empire. If they were stupid, they would die. How many of them are there?" "About 8 billion on the main world. Scattered colonies on a few other planets and moons. Nothing significant. Begin the approach. Standard conquest protocol." On Earth, Captain Lisa Hayes ran through the corridors of the military space station. She had been sleeping when the emergency call came. Now she was trying to get to her ship as fast as possible. Lisa was 35 years old and had been in space for half her life. She commanded the best warship humanity had ever built. It was called the Defiance, and it carried 200 crew members. Lisa was proud of her ship, but she knew it was nothing compared to what was coming. "Captain." Her second officer, Commander Paul Henderson, was waiting for her at the docking bay. "We've got orders to intercept and investigate the unknown contacts." "How many ships are we talking about, Paul?" "Radar shows at least 400, maybe more. They're big, Captain, really big." Lisa felt her stomach drop. "How big?" "The smallest ones are 10 times larger than us. The biggest ... we can't even get a good reading on them." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her face was calm. "Get the crew ready. We launch in 30 minutes. Captain, with respect, we can't fight 400 ships. We're not going to fight them, Paul. We're going to talk to them. Someone has to." In Washington, President Margaret Clark sat in the Situation Room deep under the White House. General Tony Martinez stood beside a large screen showing the approaching fleet. The room was full of important people, but everyone was quiet. How long do we have? The president asked. At their current speed, about 72 hours until they reach Earth orbit, General Martinez said. Have they tried to communicate? Not yet, they're just coming. President Clark looked around the room. Options? We could try to run, said the Secretary of Defense. Get as many people off the planet as possible. Where would we go? They have faster ships than us. We could surrender immediately. Maybe they'll be merciful. Or we could fight, General Martinez said quietly. Everyone looked at him. Fight 400 ships with what? Someone asked. With everything we have. Every ship, every weapon, every person willing to stand up. President Clark was quiet for a long time. General, what are our chances? Honestly? Almost zero. But sometimes you have to fight even when you can't win. The first message came 18 hours later. Every radio, every television, every computer on Earth received it at the same time. The voice was cold and spoke perfect English. Primitive. Species of the third planet. I am Ambassador Kefmel of the Galactic Empire. You will submit to imperial rule. Your world will become part of our territory. Your people will serve the Empire. This is not a negotiation. This is a fact. The message paused. Jake Morrison, still at his station in Nevada, recorded every word. You have been warned. You have 72 hours to prepare for occupation. Any resistance will result in the complete destruction of your species. This is the only warning you will receive. The transmission ended. Earth was silent for a moment. Then every phone in the world started ringing at once. Captain Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiance as it moved toward the approaching fleet. Her ship was small and alone in the darkness of space. Behind her, Earth looked blue and peaceful. Ahead, the enemy ships grew larger every minute. Captain, said Commander Henderson, we're receiving a signal from the lead ship. Put it on screen. The face that appeared was gray and alien, with cold black eyes. Human vessel, you will turn back immediately. This is your only warning. Lisa, step forward. This is Captain Lisa Hayes of the Earthship Defiance. We want to talk. There's nothing to discuss. Your planet will surrender or be destroyed. Then I guess we'll have to stop you. The alien's eyes narrowed. Your ship is nothing. Your weapons are toys. You cannot possibly believe you can defeat us. Lisa smiled. It was not a happy smile. Maybe not. But we're going to try anyway. The transmission ended. Lisa turned to her crew. Well, you heard the man. Let's show them what humans can do. In space, the two fleets moved toward each other. One was massive, powerful, and certain of victory. The other was small, desperate, and had nothing left to lose. The war for Earth was about to begin. Emperor Zalthek sat on his golden throne on the planet Zarian Prime. The throne room was massive, with walls that reached up into darkness. He was reading reports from across his empire. Most were boring. New planets conquered, new species made. To serve, new resources collected. But one report made him stop reading. It was from Admiral Vextar at something called Earth. The planet should have surrendered by now. It should have been simple. Every planet always surrendered when they saw the Imperial fleet. Why is this taking so long? The Emperor asked his advisor. The humans are different, my lord. They refuse to surrender. All species refuse at first. Then they see our power and submit. Yes, my lord. But these humans keep fighting even after seeing our power. Emperor Zalthek frowned. In 1,000 years, this had never happened. Send more ships. End this quickly. On Earth, Colonel Ryan Tucker stood in the command center watching the big screen. It showed both fleets moving toward each other in space. The human fleet looked like a collection of toys next to the massive alien ships. Ryan had been a soldier for 20 years. He had fought in wars, led men into battle, seen friends die. But he had never seen anything like this. Humanity was about to fight for its very existence. "Sir, we have reports from all sectors," said Major Steve Phillips. "Every nation on Earth has sent ships, military vessels, cargo ships, even some civilian craft with weapons bolted on. How many ships total?" 237 that can fight. Another 100 that can carry supplies or rescue people. Ryan looked at the screen again. The alien fleet had over 400 ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Against 400 alien warships. Yes, sir. The odds are not good. The odds are terrible, Ryan said. But sometimes you fight anyway. Captain Lisa Hayes felt the Defiance shake as it fired its main guns at an alien ship. The beams of energy hit the enemy vessel's shields and did nothing. The alien ship was 10 times bigger than her ship, and its weapons were much more powerful. "Direct hit, no damage to target," reported her weapons officer. "Fire again. Keep firing until something happens." Behind the Defiance, other human ships joined the attack. Small fighters, destroyers, converted cargo vessels, even a few civilian ships with mining lasers. They all fired at the massive alien. Vessels. Commander Beth Sullivan flew her experimental fighter called Razor between the giant alien ships. Her job was to get close and find weak spots. The fighter was fast and small, built for testing new engines and weapons. "This is crazy," she said to herself as laser fire filled the space around her. The alien ships were shooting at everything, but they seemed confused. Their weapons were designed for fighting other big ships, not small fast fighters. Beth saw something interesting. One of the alien ships had small ports that opened to let out fighter craft. While the port was open, there were no shields protecting it. "Command, this is Razor. I found something." "Go ahead, Razor." "The big ships have weak spots when they launch their fighters. Small windows with no shields. Can you exploit that?" Beth looked at her weapons. She had 2 missiles and some cannon shells. Not much against a ship 5 miles long, but maybe enough. "I'm going to try something stupid." Beth flew her fighter straight at the opening port. Alien fighters were coming out, but she ignored them. At the last second, she fired both missiles directly into the port and pulled away hard. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The alien ship's entire side erupted in fire. The massive vessel began to spin out of control, its engines failing. "Razor to command. The big ship is down." "Repeat, we killed a big ship." On the bridge of Dominion's Fist, Admiral Vex Tar stared at his tactical display. One of his heavy cruisers was gone. Destroyed by a single human fighter craft. This was impossible. "How?" he asked his officers. The human pilot flew directly into the hangar bay and fired at our power systems. It was a suicide run. "But the pilot survived?" "Yes, Admiral." The human pulled away at the last moment. Vextar had fought in hundreds of battles across the galaxy. He had conquered 50 worlds. But he had never seen anything like this. Other species fought with logic, used proper tactics, retreated when facing certain death. These humans seemed to ignore all military sense. Send word to all ships. The humans are more dangerous than expected. No more individual actions. Attack as a fleet. Dr. Alex Carter worked in his laboratory deep under the Pentagon. Around him, pieces of destroyed alien technology covered every table. Human scientists and engineers worked day and night to understand how the alien weapons worked. "The energy shields use a rotating frequency," Alex explained to his team. "They're designed to stop energy weapons and most projectiles." "But?" asked Dr. Maria Santos. "But they have trouble with simple kinetic impact. Old-fashioned bullets and missiles work better than our fancy laser weapons." "You mean we should use guns instead of ray guns?" "Exactly. Their shields can absorb energy, but they can't stop a chunk of metal moving fast enough." Alex picked up his phone and called the fleet command. "This is Dr. Carter. I need to speak to Colonel Tucker immediately. Within minutes, every human ship received the same message. Stop using energy weapons. Use bullets, missiles, and anything that hits hard. The alien shields could not stop everything. Captain Lisa Hayes smiled when she heard the message. You heard the man. Load kinetic rounds. Let's see how they like some good old-fashioned human firepower. The battle began to change. Human ships stopped firing energy weapons and started using missiles and cannon shells. The results were immediate. Alien shields that had easily stopped laser fire began to fail under the impact of simple metal projectiles. Commander Beth Sullivan led a squadron of fighters in an attack on an alien battleship. Instead of trying to penetrate its shields with energy weapons, they used armor-piercing missiles. The battleship's shields flickered and failed in several places. All fighters, target the shield gaps. Pour everything you have into those holes. The human fighters swarmed a massive alien ship like angry bees. Their small weapons found the weak spots and began tearing the great ship apart from the inside. Admiral Vextar watched 3 more of his ships die. The humans were using tactics no civilized species would consider. They rammed their own ships into his vessels. They sacrificed themselves to save others. They fought like wild animals instead of trained soldiers. Admiral, we have lost 47 ships, reported his tactical officer. 47? Vextar could not believe it. We were supposed to lose perhaps 10 ships in this entire campaign. The humans refuse to follow standard combat doctrine. They use impossible tactics. What do you mean impossible? They attack when they should retreat. They fight when they should surrender. They sacrifice themselves when they should preserve their forces. Nothing they do makes sense. Vextar looked at the battle display. His fleet was still much larger than the human fleet, but the humans were winning individual battles through sheer determination and unpredictable tactics. Send a message to the Emperor. Request additional ships. Many additional ships. How many, Admiral? Vextar looked at the screen again. A human ship had just rammed itself into one of his cruisers, destroying both vessels. The human crew had chosen to die rather than let the alien ship escape. All of them. Send all available ships. These humans are not like any enemy we have faced before. In space, the battle continued. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like small predators hunting giants. Every human knew they were probably going to die. Every human kept fighting anyway. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Empire was learning what it meant to fight an enemy that refused to quit. Emperor Zolthek stood in his war room staring at the galaxy map. Red lights showed where his fleets were fighting. Most of the galaxy was peaceful, colored in the blue of Imperial control. But one small yellow dot kept flashing. Earth. The Third Fleet has arrived at the human world, his war advisor reported. Good. 3 fleets should be enough to crush these primitives. My lord, Admiral Vextar requests to speak with you directly, the Emperor frowned. Admirals did not usually request direct communication unless something was very wrong. Put him on the screen. Admiral Vextar appeared on the massive display. His gray face looked tired and worried. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship showed damage from battle. My Emperor, the situation here is worse than we thought. Explain. The humans have destroyed over 200 of our ships. They fight like no species we have ever encountered. Emperor Zolthek felt his anger rising. 200 ships? Against primitives who barely know how to travel between stars. Yes, my lord. They use tactics that make no sense. They sacrifice their own ships to destroy ours. They ignore all rules of civilized warfare. Then use more ships. Destroy them all. I have been trying, my lord. But every time we destroy 10 of their ships, they find a way to destroy 5 of ours, and more human ships keep coming. The Emperor looked at his advisors. This had never happened before. In 1,000 years of conquest, no planet had ever fought back this hard. Send the 4th and 5th fleets. End this now. Captain Nicole Foster stood on the bridge of her ship Liberty. It had been a cargo vessel 3 days ago. Now it had missile launchers welded to its sides and armor plates bolted over the important parts. It was ugly, but it could fight. "Captain, we're approaching the asteroid belt," reported her navigator. "Good. Are the mining charges in position?" "Yes, ma'am." "Every major asteroid has been rigged with explosives." Nicole smiled. Her plan was simple and crazy. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter was full of rocks and old mining equipment. If she could create a debris field at the right time, she could force the alien ships into a narrow path where human ships would be waiting. Signal the fleet. "All ships take position. Wait for my mark." Behind her, 50 human ships hid among the asteroids. They were all different sizes and types. Military destroyers next to converted passenger ships, mining vessels next to racing craft. All of them carried the heaviest weapons Earth could provide. The alien fleet approached in perfect formation. 300 massive ships moving like a parade. They were beautiful and terrible, but they were also predictable. "Now!" Nicole shouted. Every asteroid between the human fleet and the aliens exploded at the same time. Millions of tons of rock and metal erupted into space, creating a wall of debris moving at incredible speed. The alien ships tried to change course, but they were too big and moving too fast. The debris cloud forced them into a narrow channel, exactly where Nicole wanted them. "All ships, open fire." The hidden human fleet attacked from every direction. Missiles and cannon shells poured into the alien ships from above, below, and both sides. The aliens found themselves trapped in a shooting gallery with nowhere to run. Major Steve Phillips watched the battle from his command post on the moon. His job was to coordinate the defense of Earth's orbital stations. But what he saw on his screens made him forget about defense. "Sir, the asteroid field attack is working," his assistant reported. "The aliens have lost 37 ships in the first 10 minutes. How many human ships?" 12 destroyed, 8 damaged." Steve could hardly believe it. The humans were winning a major battle against a superior enemy. "Get me Captain Foster." Nicole's face appeared on the screen. Behind her, the Bridge of Liberty shook from weapons fire. "Steve, we can't hold this position much longer. The aliens are starting to organize." "How long do you need?" "Give me 30 more minutes, and I can break there." "Formation completely." "You have it. I'm sending reinforcements." Major Steve Phillips turned to his communications officer. "Send word to all human forces. The asteroid field plan is working. All available ships move to support Captain Foster immediately." Dr. Maria Santos worked in her laboratory, analyzing pieces of captured alien technology. She had made an amazing discovery. The aliens were not as advanced as they appeared. "Their weapons are powerful, but they're old," she explained to Dr. Alex Carter. "This technology hasn't been improved in hundreds of years." "What does that mean?" "It means they've been using the same designs for so long, they've stopped innovating. They just build bigger versions of the same thing." Alex looked at the alien weapon parts scattered across the table. "So they're powerful, but not creative." "Exactly. Look at this." Maria held up a small device. "This is their targeting system. It's designed to lock onto large ships moving in. Predictable patterns. It has trouble tracking small, fast targets that change direction randomly. Like human fighters." "Right. And look at this power coupling. It's standardized across their entire fleet. If we can figure out how to overload it, double quotes, Alex understood immediately. We could create a weapon that turns their own power systems against them. I'm already working on it. Give me 48 hours. Commander Beth Sullivan flew her fighter Razor through the debris field around the destroyed alien ships. Her mission was to rescue any human pilots who had survived the battle and gather intelligence from the alien wrecks. Razor to base. I'm seeing something strange out here. Go ahead, Razor. The alien ships all have the same weak points. Same shield generators, same weapon systems, same everything. It's like they all came from the same factory. That's useful. Information. Anything else? Beth flew closer to a damaged alien battleship. Through a hole in its hull, she could see the interior. Base. I'm looking inside one of their ships. The crew areas are different. Different how? Everything is built for comfort, not efficiency. Luxury quarters, decoration, fancy furniture. These aren't warships built for fighting. They're more like mobile palaces. Explain. Beth took pictures with her fighter's camera. It looks like they've never had to fight a real war. Their ships are built to impress and intimidate, not for actual combat. This information changed everything. The human commanders realized that the Galactic Empire had been conquering through fear and show of force, not through military skill. They had powerful weapons and big ships, but they had never faced an enemy that fought back seriously. Admiral Vextar received the reports from the asteroid field battle with growing concern. His fleet had lost 89 ships while the humans had lost only 23. The mathematics were becoming impossible. Sir, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy, his communications officer reported. What kind of transmissions? Other species, my lord. They're asking about the humans. Vextar felt something he had never felt before in his long military career. Fear. Not fear of dying in battle, but fear of what would happen if word spread that the Empire could be defeated. What are they asking? They want to know if it's true that humans are fighting back successfully. Some are asking if humans would help them fight for their freedom. Block all transmissions. No information about this battle leaves this system. Sir, it may be too late. Trading ships have been watching from the outer system. The news is already spreading. Vextar looked at his tactical display. The 4th and 5th fleets would arrive soon, bringing his total force to over 700 ships. But he was no longer confident that would be enough. The humans had done something no species had ever done before. They had made the Galactic Empire look weak. And across the galaxy, billions of enslaved beings were starting to wonder if they could be free. Prepare for the next phase of the attack, Vextar ordered, and send a message to the Emperor. Tell him the humans are more dangerous than we thought. Much more dangerous. In space around Earth, the debris from the asteroid field battle slowly drifted apart. But the real explosion had already happened. The Empire's reputation for invincibility was broken. Word was spreading through the galaxy faster than their ships could travel. The war had moved beyond Earth. It was becoming something much bigger. The 5th Fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system like a dark cloud. 700 Imperial ships now surrounded Earth, more military power than had ever been assembled in one place. But they were not alone. General Tony Martinez stood in the command bunker deep under the Colorado mountains. The screens around him showed something that made his heart race. Ships were arriving from across the galaxy, but they were not Imperial ships. Sir, we have confirmation, reported his aide. Refugee fleets from 12 different star systems have arrived to help us. How many ships? Over 300, sir. They're not warships, mostly cargo vessels and passenger ships, but they want to fight. Tony looked at the main display. Strange. Alien ships with designs he had never seen before were taking positions alongside human vessels. Some looked like flying crystals, others like metal trees, and some had shapes that hurt to look at directly. Put me in contact with their commanders. The first face that appeared on screen was unlike anything Tony had ever seen. It had blue skin, 6 eyes, and spoke through a mechanical translator. I am Captain Zenth of the Kepler Mining Collective. My people have been slaves to the Empire for 300 years. We heard that humans fight back. We came to learn how. Another screen lit up. This time it showed a being that looked like a walking plant with flowers for hands. I am Speaker Bloom of the Garden Worlds. The Empire has harvested our planets for centuries. If you can hurt them, we will help you. More screens appeared. Each showed a different species, all with the same message. They had lived under Imperial rule for generations, but news of human resistance had spread through the galaxy like wildfire. They wanted to be free. Welcome to the fight, Tony said to all of them. Let's show the Empire what happens when people stop being afraid. Lieutenant Commander Amy Watson crept through the corridors of the captured Imperial ship Vengeance. Her team of 12 humans had boarded the vessel during the last battle when its shields failed. Now they were trying to reach the command center. The ship was huge inside, with corridors wide enough for trucks to drive through. Everything was decorated with gold and precious stones. Even the walls had artwork carved into them. This doesn't look like a warship, whispered Sergeant Kevin Stone. It looks like a palace, Amy replied. These people have never had to worry about being attacked. They reached the main computer room. Amy plugged her portable computer into the alien system. The Empire's security was strong, but it was designed to keep out other Imperial citizens, not humans who thought completely differently. I'm in, Amy said. Downloading everything I can find. The information that flowed into her computer was incredible. Fleet positions, supply lines, communication codes, and something even more important, the Empire's history. Guys, you need to see this, Amy said, reading the files. The Empire hasn't fought a real war in 800 years. What do you mean? Every species they've conquered surrendered after the first battle. They show up with a big fleet, the local government gives up, and that's it. They've never had to fight a species that refused to quit. Sergeant Stone looked at the luxury around them. So they've gotten soft. Worse than soft. They've forgotten how to fight. Look at this ship design. It's built to look impressive, not to survive battle damage. Amy's computer finished downloading the Imperial databases. What she found there would change everything. Engineer Paul Henderson worked in the captured alien ship's engine room with a team of human technicians. They were trying to understand how Imperial technology worked, but what they found surprised them. The power systems are incredibly advanced, Paul explained to his team. But they're also incredibly wasteful. What do you mean? They have enough power to run a small city, but they use most of it for comfort systems and decoration. The artificial gravity, the climate control, the holographic displays, they all consume enormous amounts of energy. So their ships are powerful but inefficient? Exactly. And look at this. Paul showed them a control panel covered in jewels and gold. This is the main power regulator. It's beautiful, but it's also fragile. One good hit in the right place and the whole ship loses power. Paul's discovery was sent to every human ship in the fleet. The Empire's vessels were powerful but had critical weak points that could be exploited by anyone brave enough to get close. Dr. Helen Roberts sat in her office analyzing the data from Amy's raid. What she read in the Imperial files made her understand something important about their enemy. The Empire rules through fear, she said to her assistant. They don't actually have to fight most of the time. They just show up and everyone surrenders. So they're not used to real resistance? Right, and more importantly, they can't afford to look weak. Their entire system depends on other species believing they're invincible. Helen pulled up a map of the galaxy. Look at this. The Empire controls over 1,000 worlds, but they only have about 50,000 ships total to patrol all of them. That's not very many for such a large area. It's not enough if everyone starts fighting back at once. They depend on fear to keep most worlds in line. If that fear disappears, The whole empire could collapse, exactly. And that's why they can't afford to lose here. If word gets out that humans defeated them, every enslaved world in the galaxy might rebel. Ambassador Kethmol stood before Emperor Zalthek in the Imperial throne room. The Emperor's anger filled the vast chamber like a storm. "You told me this would be finished in days," the Emperor said, his voice cold with rage. "My lord, the humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They refuse to accept defeat even when facing impossible odds. Then kill them all." "We are trying, my lord. But every battle costs us more ships than we can afford to lose, and the news of our struggles is spreading." Emperor Zalthek stood up from his throne. "What news? Other species are beginning to question our strength. Some have even sent ships to help the humans. Impossible." "I'm afraid it's true, my lord. The Kepler Mining Collective, the Garden Worlds, even some of the Outer Rim traders, they smell weakness." The Emperor began to pace. In 1,000 years, this had never happened. The Empire had grown by making other species afraid to fight back. But now the humans had shown that the Empire could be hurt. "How many rebel ships?" "Over 500 at last count, my lord. More arriving every day." "And our losses?" 347 ships destroyed, 198 damaged beyond repair. Emperor Zalthek felt something he had not felt in centuries: doubt. The humans had done more than fight back. They had made him look weak in front of the entire galaxy. "Send word to all Imperial fleets. Every available ship is to move to the human system immediately." "My lord, that would leave our other territories undefended. If we lose here, there will be no empire left to defend. The humans must be destroyed, and everyone who helped them must be made an example of." Captain Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiance watching the tactical display. The space around Earth was now filled with ships from dozens of different worlds. Human vessels flew alongside alien craft in formations that would have been impossible to imagine a week ago. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial fleet," her communications officer reported. "Put it on screen." Ambassador Kethmel appeared on the display. His face looked tired and worried. "Captain Hayes, I offer you one final chance to surrender. The Emperor has ordered the complete destruction of your world, and every ship that stands with you." Lisa smiled. "Ambassador, I have a message for your Emperor." "What message?" "Tell him the humans said no. And tell him that next time he wants to conquer a world, he should pick on someone his own size." The transmission ended. Lisa turned to her crew. "All ships, prepare for battle. It's time to show the galaxy what freedom looks like." In space, two massive fleets faced each other. On one side, the greatest military force the galaxy had ever seen. On the other, a collection of rebels, refugees, and humans who refused to give up. The final battle for Earth was about to begin, but it was no longer just about Earth. It was about the future of the entire galaxy. The final battle began at dawn on Earth. In space above the blue planet, over 1,000 ships from 24 worlds faced the largest Imperial fleet ever assembled. The Empire had brought everything they had. This would end the rebellion, or destroy it completely. Captain Derek Johnson commanded the hybrid battleship Retribution. His ship was built from parts of captured Imperial vessels and human technology. It was ugly but deadly, carrying weapons that could punch through Imperial shields and armor that could withstand their energy beams. "All ships, this is Derek Johnson. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every world that dreams of freedom. Let's show the Empire what that dream looks like." The Imperial fleet moved forward like a wall of metal and death. Admiral Vextar had over 800 ships under his command. Behind him came the personal fleet of Emperor Zalthek himself. The Emperor had come to watch the humans die. "Begin the attack," Vextar ordered. "Destroy them all." The space between the fleets filled with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles crossed the darkness like deadly fireworks, but something was different this time. The rebel fleet did not fight like the Empire expected. Commander Beth Sullivan led a squadron of mixed fighters. Human ships flew next, to alien craft that looked like flying crystals and metal flowers. They moved in patterns that confused the Imperial targeting systems. "Remember what we learned," Beth called to her pilots. "Their weapons track large targets moving in straight lines. Stay small, stay fast, keep changing direction." The Imperial ships found themselves fighting ghosts. Every time they locked onto a target, it vanished or split apart. The rebels fought like a swarm of insects, everywhere at once and impossible to pin down. Major Steve Phillips watched the battle from his command post and saw something amazing happening. The alien refugee ships were learning human tactics in real time. They copied the way human pilots moved, the way human ships attacked, the way humans refused to give up even when badly damaged. "Sir, the Kepler miners just rammed their ship into an Imperial cruiser," his assistant reported. "Did they survive?" "Yes, sir. They ejected in escape pods at the last second." "The Imperial ship is dead in space." Steve smiled. "They're learning fast." Dr. Maria Santos activated her secret weapon from her laboratory on Earth. She had spent days studying Imperial power systems from captured ships. Now she was ready to test her discovery. "Transmitting the overload signal now," she said to her team. Across space, every Imperial ship received the same radio transmission. It looked like normal static, but hidden in the noise was a code designed to match Imperial power coupling frequencies. On board the Imperial flagship, alarms began screaming. "Admiral, we're having power fluctuations across the fleet," reported the chief engineer. "What kind of fluctuations?" "All ships are reporting the same problem. Power systems overloading at random intervals." Admiral Vextar felt his stomach drop. "How many ships affected?" "All of them, sir." In the engine room of Dominion's Fist, Imperial engineers worked frantically to stop the power failures. But every time they fixed one system, another would overload. The humans had found a way to turn their own technology against them. Captain Lisa Hayes saw the Imperial fleet beginning to falter. Ships were losing power, weapons going offline, shields failing at random moments. "All ships, the enemy is having technical problems. Press the attack now." The rebel fleet surged forward. Human ships that had been barely holding their own suddenly found themselves attacking confused and weakened enemies. The careful Imperial formation began to break apart. Emperor Zalthek stood on the bridge of his personal dreadnought, watching his fleet fall apart. 800 ships, the pride of his empire, were being defeated by a collection of rebels and refugees led by primitives who had learned to travel between stars only decades ago. "How is this possible?" he asked his advisors. "The humans fight differently, my lord. They use tactics we have never seen before. And the other species? They are copying human methods, fighting like humans, refusing to surrender like humans." The Emperor watched another of his battleships explode under the combined fire of a dozen smaller rebel craft. "Recall the fleet. We withdraw." "My lord?" "You heard me. Signal the retreat. We leave the system immediately." Admiral Vextar could not believe what he was hearing. "My Emperor, we can still win this battle. At what cost? I have already lost half my fleet. If I lose the rest here, the entire empire will collapse. Other worlds will rebel. We retreat now and deal with this problem differently. What about the humans?" Emperor Zalthek looked at the tactical display showing his fleet in full retreat. "Mark this system as forbidden. No Imperial ship is to approach Earth again, ever." Captain Derek Johnson watched in amazement as the Imperial fleet turned and fled toward the edge of the solar system. Around him, rebel ships cheered over the radio in dozens of different languages. "Retribution to all ships. The Imperials are running. Repeat, the Empire is in full retreat." The celebration lasted for hours. Ships from across the galaxy had stood together and defeated the greatest military force in known history. But Derek knew this was just the beginning. President Margaret Clark stood before the cameras in the White House. Her speech would be broadcast not just to Earth, but to every world in the galaxy using captured Imperial communication systems. People of the galaxy, today we proved that the Empire can be defeated. We showed that freedom is stronger than fear. Any world that wants to be free need only ask. Humanity stands ready to help. The message spread faster than Imperial ships could travel. Within days, rebellions began on 50 worlds. Within weeks, entire sectors declared independence. The empire that had ruled for 1,000 years began to crumble. Dr. Helen Roberts wrote the final report in her historical records. The Battle of Earth had lasted only 6 hours, but it changed the galaxy forever. The Empire still existed, but it was no longer the terrifying force it had been. Other species had learned that giants could fall. Captain Kevin Stone led the first human exploration fleet beyond the solar system 1 month after the battle. His mission was not conquest but liberation. Dozens of worlds had asked for human help in throwing off Imperial rule. This is the Earthship Freedom calling all free worlds, Kevin broadcast as his fleet entered the Kepler system. We're here to help. Who wants to be free? The response came from every planet in the system. They all wanted freedom. They all wanted to learn how to fight like humans. Admiral Vextar sat in his quarters writing his final report to the Emperor. His career was over, his fleet scattered, his reputation destroyed. But he had learned something important about humans that the Empire would never forget. The humans are not like other species, he wrote. They do not fight for territory or resources. They fight for ideas. Freedom, justice, the right to choose their own destiny. These are not things that can be conquered or destroyed. They are things that spread. Emperor Zolthek read the report in his throne room. Around him, his advisors brought news of more rebellions, more worlds declaring independence, more species learning to fight like humans. What are your orders, my lord? His chief advisor asked. The Emperor looked at the galaxy map. Red lights showed rebel activity across hundreds of worlds. The Empire was still large, still powerful, but it would never be the same. Issue new orders to all Imperial fleets. Earth and all systems allied with Earth are to be avoided. Mark them as quarantine zones. What reason should we give? Extreme caution advised. The humans have woken up, and they are teaching the galaxy to be like them. The Empire had set its sights on Earth expecting easy conquest. They had received one caution and ignored it. Now they understood that some species are too dangerous to cage. Humanity had been sleeping peacefully in their corner of the galaxy. The Empire woke them up. Now the galaxy belonged to anyone brave enough to fight for freedom, and humans were very good teachers.